What's happening, everybody, and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to run you through some exercises which are going to help you stretch out, loosen your hips, and help you if you're suffering from a little bit of lower back pain, or maybe you just feel like you're all really tight around your lower back and hips. These exercises are going to help you open those hips up, which is going to help alleviate any lower back pain and also just make you feel like you can move a bit better on a daily basis. And also it's going to make you feel a lot better when you're doing particular exercises like squats. You're just going to feel like you can get a lot deeper and a lot more comfortable in those positions. Okay, so first up, the first exercise we're going to talk about is the pigeon stretch. So this is an awesome stretch for targeting directly through that hip and just loosening it up. Now, I would recommend, depending on when you're doing this, so if you're doing this prior to a workout or in the evenings or every day as a bit of a way of trying to loosen and stretch off your hips, you want to hold it anywhere between like 30 seconds and a minute on each side. Or as long as you can, 15 seconds if it's feeling a bit painful, a bit tender and a bit hard to get into that position, then just hold it for as long as you can while getting a deep stretch all through that kind of hip joint. Now what you want to do first of all is you want to come into a press up position, and then from there you want to take one of your legs, place it in front of your body at kind of like a right angle, and then drop both knees down towards the floor and get that front knee as close to the floor as you can. Now depending how tight your hips are, you may not be able to get that close down and you might have to support yourself with your arms a little bit more. But once you've got both of those knees down onto the ground, then just lean towards that knee to increase that stretch as much as possible. Don't push it too far because we don't want you to hurt yourself, but just push and lean into that stretch. Breathe into it. If you can, get your forearms down on the floor and get your hold of that upper body flat over that leg and really deep into that stretch. But like I said, you just take it as far as you feel comfortable. 15, 30 seconds, a minute on that side, and then switch over to the other side. Slowly coming back out of that stretch and moving into the other leg. Next up is a straddle stretch. So this one's going to be stretching through your hip, but also your inner thigh, your adductor, which sometimes can get quite tight, and again, make the mobility through that hip area and lower back feel a lot more stiff and tight. So with this one, what you're going to do is you're going to come down onto all fours, and then you're going to extend one leg out to the side. Just far enough so you can already start to feel a bit of a stretch through your inner thigh. And then from there, what you want to do is you want to sit your hips backwards, and that's just going to increase all of that stretch through that inner thigh and through that hip area on that side. Same thing again, 15, 30 seconds, a minute, and just really breathe into that stretch. And again, if you can sit, the further back you can sit your hips, the more you're going to feel that stretch. And then just switch over to the other side. Next up, we're going to come into 5-way hips. Now this is a great one for not just stretching and mobilizing the hip, but if your hip area needs strengthening all through that area, you're going to really feel this working all of those muscles around your hip joint. With this one, what you're going to do is you're going to start off laying on one side, get yourself in a comfortable position, put one arm under your head or laying flat down on the ground on that one side. And then you're going to start off by doing 3 lifts up to the side, 3 kicks out in front, 3 kicks backwards, and then 3 kicks all the way forwards, all the way back. And then lastly, doing a figure of 8 with your foot and keeping that movement slightly smaller, so you're not extending the hip quite as far, but you're just making it really stabilize and work as you're controlling all through that hip joint and doing that figure of 8 movement. Do 1 round of that on one side, switch to the other side, do another round, maybe switch back, do another round, just until you can really feel that kind of dull ache and muscular burning sensation within those hips. But what's also great is you're just going to again be loosening them up. Next up is Cossack squats. Now this is a great way of getting actively warm before a workout. I like to incorporate them before doing any kind of lower body movements, squatting or deadlifting, and just getting the legs warm and moving, whilst also driving a lot of blood and just getting blood flow around the body and just warm and prepared for your workout. So with these, what you want to do is you want to split your legs as far as feel comfortable, and then you're going to lean over to one side, sit your hips backwards, down into a squat, and just get as deep as you can on that side, and then come back out of it and lean straight over into the other side, and just going back and forth. 10 repetitions on each side, a couple of sets of that. You're going to have your quads feeling really warm, you're going to feel it stretching all down your adductors, and you're going to get those hips moving as well prior to any exercise and movements that you're then going to move on into. Number 5 is you're going to go into a deep squat. Now this one again is great for working on ankle mobility, range of motion, stretching through your hips, your adductors, and just getting used to getting into a nice deep squatting position. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your legs shoulder width apart or just wider, and you're going to sit down into as deep a squat as you can whilst keeping your feet flat on the floor. And then when you get down there, I like to just put my elbows inside my knees and just put a bit of pressure on my knees and push my legs out a little bit, just to open up those hips that bit more, keeping your chest up nice and tall so you're not letting your upper back round too much. That's what you want to try and do. Keep your back nice and flat, keep your feet flat on the floor, and get as low as you can in that position before your back starts to round and your heels start to come off the floor. And with this one, you're going to hold it there for any time between 10, 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how long you can hold that stretch for. And again, just breathe into it and just hold it there. Let everything loosen up, everything open up. Next up, we're going to come into a wall-assisted hip flexor stretch. Okay, so finding a wall or a box or just something that's sturdy enough for you to prop your back foot up against. You're just going to come down into that position onto one knee, creating a right angle with your front leg, and then you're just going to prop your back foot up against the wall. Start a bit further away and just gradually shuffle your back knee closer and closer to the wall until you get to a point where you feel like there's a good enough stretch. Once you're there, keep your chest up nice and tall, drive those hips forward, and just feel that stretch all down your hip flexor and come all the way down your quad. And this is just going to be a great way of loosening up those hip flexors, ready to go on to more squatting, or just to again create more mobility all through those hips so that your hip flexors aren't too tight. We do an awful lot of sitting, most of us nowadays, depending on what you do for a living, or just in general on a daily basis. So our hip flexors are one of those muscles which tend to get really tight on most people. So this is a great way of loosening those off. Now that's the exercises. Now if you're somebody that suffers from lower back pain, feels a bit stiff around that hip area, and you just want to loosen everything off and feel a bit better, then these stretches are something that you can do every single day. Try and implement them into your daily routine. Try and fit them with something else while you're sitting in front of the TV in the evenings, after you've brushed your teeth in the morning or the evening, before you do a workout, after you do a workout. Just try and fit them somewhere in your day. And just remember with stuff like this, is you need to make sure you're doing it often enough to counteract the things which are actually making it tight. So if you sit in an office from 9 to 5 and then you come home in the evenings and you sit down on the sofa and you commute to work in a car, you're going to be doing an awful lot of sitting, which is going to make all of those hips really tight, which is going to contribute to potential lower back stiffness and lower back pain. So what you want to make sure is you're not just doing this once a week. You need to be thinking, right, I'm doing the wrong things, the things which are going to aggravate this every day. So to counteract that, I need to be doing this stretching and this mobility routine as often as possible, potentially daily, potentially more than once a day if you're somebody that hips are incredibly tight and you find your range of motion and mobility isn't that great. Once again guys, if you found this video useful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, comment below if you have any questions, and share it with anybody that you feel might find this video useful. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate it.